I better, quiet down. But congratulations to all of you. And I am so excited about, where we are, but most importantly, where we want to go. And I know that all of us, are in different spaces and in terms of what we want. But what I do know is the fact that there's not one of you on here that doesn't want to be successful. And so tonight I would just thought I would share some things with you to hopefully give you hope. And a lot of you don't know, but I started my Mary Kay in Wheatland, Wyoming. And so I grew up in Hewlett, Wyoming, which is way, way northeast, out on a ranch. So I, also, depending on where you guys are at, everybody's, spread out all over the country, but, a lot of you know, or you live in rural parts of the country where, you definitely know that there are things that you deal with in a rural place that in a bigger town or city is definitely different. And so I just thought when I started to write my notes, I thought, gosh, there could be some really common threads, but there's probably some different things that you'd like to hear that gosh, it's okay to make mistakes. And Mary Kay always said that the woman with the bloodiest knees would always be the most successful. And so I can tell you, I made a lot of mistakes building my business. When I started, my husband was a basketball coach in Wheatland, and I was working for the government. And so I really wanted to get out of that job. And that was really what my driving force was. And about that time was when Dave Ann won her car. And she came to Wheatland. And I always say to everybody, she came to my house and she popped out of that car and she had what I called STP, smile on her face, twinkle in her eye, and a pep in her step. But to me, she had started, stopped 3 different times. And I saw that all the way through my college career. And I was in Laramie at the University of Wyoming. And I just thought, I'm going to graduate and I'm going to get a real job. And I did graduate. And, when I got out of Mary Kay, I got that, real job, but I also had to have about 4 other part-time jobs because that real job in Wheatland, Wyoming was not paying so great. And I had student loans that I had to pay off. And, I definitely did not grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. My mom, I mean, literally, you guys, I mean, we grew up very modestly. I mean, there was always space at our table for someone to come for dinner. And we always had extra people for dinner, but we literally lived pretty simply. And, I guess that's one thing as far as when I started my Mary Kay, one of my biggest visions was I thought, wow, if I could get rid of a car payment, that would be so awesome. And so that was really one of the biggest motivating forces when I started was I thought, wow, if I could do that, that would be huge. And so one of the things that I asked myself after I started, and we ended up earning our car in 10 months, and they wouldn't even deliver it to Wheatland, you guys. I had to drive over to Laramie to pick up the car because the dealer in Wheatland wasn't big enough. And so I took our assistant coach's wife with me because of the fact that I knew if the car wasn't there, she would never tell anyone. And we'd go have a liquid lunch and all would be fine. But the car was there. And you signed in 2 places and you drove away. And I can remember going back to Wheatland and the banker who had been really negative about my Mary Kay when I started, because I started with a 600. Because even at that time, you guys, the 600, you got $105 worth of free product. And now, you get so much more with all the bundles. But the banker was so negative. He was like, oh, my wife tried that stuff and it broke her out. And I'm sure you're going to have to exercise that 90% guarantee. And so he was my first negative Nelly that kind of popped onto the surface when I started my business. And so that was what really started to motivate me. And so when we picked up the car, guess where I went? I went straight to the bank. But one of the questions that I started to ask myself was, what creates the best and fastest results? Because when I first went on Target for our car, I was working a full-time job. And I was also keeping the scorebook for the basketball team. And so I was traveling and I was teaching aerobics at that time, you guys, and Jana Stone we went to the same aerobics class and she was in my aerobics class. And so we really, really both ask each other what creates the best and fastest result. And so the first thing that I thought of as I started to write notes for tonight, I thought, for me, having a vision and a mantra. So I started saying, to everybody that I saw, I started saying, that I was in qualification to earn a car. And, that I was so excited about owning my own business. But as part of my training, this is what I needed to do. And so that vision and mantra is really what kind of started it all. And, when you're booking people, you really need to have something in terms of why are they going to want to do business with you? Unlike any other business, small business, where people walk through your doors, that's not ever what happens with us, right? We have to find ways to get people to either walk through our doors or so we can walk through their doors. So, the biggest thing is making sure that that people really want to be a part of your moving train. Okay, but you have to be so sold out on what you're doing, and it has to come through in your verbiage, in your body language, in the way that you say things. And that was really something that I learned right away. I can remember Mary Kay saying that, your husband can look at you and he can tell you, oh, honey, when I look at you, you have the face that could stop a clock. Or your husband could look at you and say, oh, honey, when I look at you, time stands still. And, it's basically the same thing, but it's worded completely different. And so what could be your mantra? Okay. What could be your best booking technique? And so this is where I'm going to involve you guys, because I think that you'll get more if I am, finding out from you. But for me, it was, Andy, I am going on target for my car. And I was just wondering if you could, be a part of this. I'm so excited about it. Is there any reason why we couldn't get some of your friends together and we could have a party this week? And so that really became kind of, my exact verbiage of what I said to get the ball rolling. And the other mantra that I used was that I had to do a minimum of 3 parties a week. And that fail-proof plan, that 3 parties, 3 plus 3 plus 3, or I know you guys call it 3. I know it's
triple three.
Triple three. Okay. I know you guys call it triple three, but Mary Kay always called it 3 plus 3 plus 3. And so I know without a doubt, that was one of the things that helped me too, was that I would say, Cassie, I am in qualification. And as part of my qualifications, I've got to do a minimum of 3 parties a week. Is there any reason why we couldn't get some of your friends together? And that way, you can help me out, and I'll, be happy to give you some amazing free product for being a hostess. And so I got really, really good at being excited with my, intonation in my voice. I got really excited. I really true and sold out on the fact that, this was going to be what I wanted to do full time. And that was the other part of my mantra, was the fact that, I know when I have kids that I want to be able to be a full-time stay-at-home mom. And, you are so wonderful to help me out with this. And I am engaged and involved everyone. And, in Wheatland, Wyoming, you definitely are working in a population of 4,500 people. You'll come up against objections, and we're going to talk about that. But, what are some of your mantras? What are some of your things that you say? So Cassie, what would you say is your number one best thing that you say to get the result you want booking?
There we go. Sorry, couldn't unmute. I think one of my best ones is, you kind of said it, just asking them like, hey, I'm trying to do this big thing, or I need 30 faces this week, or 15 interviews, or whatever it is. Could you help me out? And I'll give you a free mascara, or, product, or whatever it is, depending on what they say yes to. And just getting them like, oh, well, I'll do it to help you out. It's amazing how much we'll do for our girlfriends.
Exactly. And, I think that's one thing that, I never wanted to bother anybody. Did anybody ever have that on their thought process? I didn't want to be pushy. I didn't want to bother people. But I can tell you that what I found out right away was the fact that in the process of them helping me out, it literally turned into something where I could be of such service to them. And so it was super cool to be able to know that you were out there and making other people feel so great. And, I always try to keep it light, Keep it light, keep it fast, in and out, and no longer than an hour. And especially with virtual, you've got to probably get into that 30-minute window to keep it so that people don't start glazing over. And so number two, never leaving a booking without another booking. I mean, when I moved to Arizona, I was a brand new sales director. We had earned the car in October, and then in April, we decided to move to Arizona, and I debuted as a new sales director. So then, as soon as Mike got out of school, we moved to Arizona. And so, one of the things, because I knew no one, guys, I was a brand new director. I gave away all of my customers when I moved because we didn't have websites at that time. But one of the things that I got really good at was I would never leave a booking without another booking. And so I literally would play games with myself, and kind of pretend. And some people set up stuffed animals, and I couldn't quite do that. But they'll set stuffed animals up, they'll practice on them. But what I did was to make sure that I got a booking from a booking, was the first one was that my goal was every appointment to try to make sure that I was selling skincare, because that skincare is another appointment. And now with the new miracle sets, I mean, here we are, getting ready with the new miracle sets, to be able to launch this. And so I really got excited about the miracle set we had at that time. And it was a whole lot different. It was $56, guys. And so that's the difference. But my first party in Yuma, Arizona, you guys, was with all Spanish speaking guests. And I spoke not one lick of Spanish. Now I can communicate in Spanish pretty well now, just because I can understand. I can't necessarily always speak it that well, but I can sure understand a lot of it because of the fact that literally it was playing show and tell. And so my booking from a booking was always with the skincare. It was like a doctor's appointment. Cindy, I need to see you within 10 days to 2 weeks to guarantee the product and to make sure it's all working properly. Is there any reason why we can't get together with some of you and your friends so that we can make sure that everything is working perfectly for you? Okay, so you treat it like a doctor's appointment. Your verbiage is such, and you definitely make it so that, you sell the product at the first appointment, but you guys, the second appointment, you are going to be able to expand them into new product categories. So first and foremost is, a booking from a booking is going to be always with the skincare. Guarantee the product and to make sure it's working properly. Second one is going to be at every appointment. I always choose one person that I'd like to have a future appointment with. And Heidi, tonight I've chosen you because you have just been smiling the entire time tonight. And you're the type of person that I love to be able to spoil and pamper and do the same for your friends. Is there any reason why we couldn't get together with your friends within 10 days to 2 weeks and definitely show you some other things because you are so gorgeous? And I don't do this in front of everybody, you guys. I always do it one-on-one. And I just say, at every appointment, I always choose one person I'd love to have a future appointment with. And Heidi, tonight I chose you. Is there any reason we couldn't get together? And so that's the second reason. The third reason is, oh my gosh, you see people that maybe they wanted to get some things, but that they weren't able to afford everything they wanted. And so I would say, Kaylee, I know you enjoyed everything we tried tonight. I could tell. And are you able to get everything you want tonight? And I would ask that because you will be able to see, you guys. Because when I get done with my parties, I literally, you guys keep it so low key, so like it is about them buying, not about me selling. Okay. And so I'll get done and I will just do the closing and then I give them their sales tickets. They fill out their own sales tickets. And I literally pass out the sales tickets. And then I go one-on-one with each person. And I'm just very discreet about how I close with them. But I always, and especially if I know she didn't get everything that she wanted that night, I would say to her, Kaylee, I would love to be able to give you some free product. Would you be offended if I were to ask you to get together with some of your friends? And then I would love to spoil you with $100 in free product for being a hostess. Now, all you got to do is hold it on the original date and then three adults there. Do you think we could make that happen? And so literally, you guys, I mean, that's what happens. But by the time I get to each person, I can kind of tell what direction they're going with their sales ticket. And then I can kind of help them. Okay. So number three, keep it simple, sweetie. I mean, Mary Kay always said it, but do you go in traveling light? I mean, I will never forget, you guys. My first parties that I, started doing, and I loved doing them in my house. Okay. So this, if you're doing them at your house, that's a whole different ballgame. But if you're packing up and going somewhere, and I literally can tell you that I had a party in Laramie one night and it was blizzarding all the way over there and the roads were awful. And I get over there and I do the party. And I mean, the wind was blowing 90. I mean, it was just crazy. And I sold one blush. And blush at that time, you guys, was $7. I mean, I didn't even pay my gas. I mean, it was just like, oh my word. So I was crying all the way home. But some of the things that I've learned over the years is travel light. If you've got a suitcase, if you're going to be doing appointments out of your house, if you've got a carry-on suitcase, pack that and look like you're traveling light. I think that, to attract people to do what you want or do what you do, you've got to make it look so easy and fun. And you definitely want to make sure that you don't look like a pack horse. I mean, I can be the first to tell you that, I mean, my first parties, I went in like with 3 bags. I mean, it was like, who would want to do what I was doing at that time? And of course, that was also when you were having to wear a dress and pantyhose and closed-toed shoes. And in Arizona at that time, you guys, when it's 116 degrees, it's a little difficult to really want to put on pantyhose and closed-toed shoes. But we did it. We did it. All right. And Pueblo's very much the same. It can get that hot. But would someone want to do what you do? I mean, ask yourself that. Do they see you, excited about what you're doing? Do they see you staying in that corridor of belief? Do they know that you are sure about what you're doing? And it takes a while, you guys, to build up your belief. It really does. And, there will be negative Nellies out there that are going to try to steal your dream. I mean, I will never forget my roommate from college. I mean, if I would have waited for her to be my best customer, you guys, I would have never gotten anywhere in my business. And I mean, she was so negative to me when I started. She was like, people tried that and, it just doesn't work. Nobody makes any money. I mean, and if I would have listened to her, you guys, I probably would have, gotten in the same boat that she did. And she's had a rough life. And I hate that for her because she was one of my dearest friends. But, at the same time, guys, you have to make a decision sometimes when you're ready to move ahead and you're ready to get out of a rut. Sometimes some of the people, maybe it's even family members, they may not understand your journey. They may not. But they sometimes will get it, especially if it's like, someone really close to you. They'll really get it when you can help them in some way. It's like with my mom. She wasn't excited when I started at all. She was so disappointed. She was like, "You're wasting your education. Why do you want to do that?" But to this day, my mom is the biggest Mary Kay fan next to my dad. While my dad was still alive. I mean, my dad loved Mary Kay, you guys, because he never saw me sacrifice a thing. And, that's the thing is my mom is one of the biggest, she's my sister's recruit and in my sister's unit. But I can tell you, you guys, that look at the things that you're doing and do other people want to do what you do? And so just ask yourself that. Number 4, making sure that your, team can learn while you earn. Okay. And Jody, I'm going to go ahead and pull you into this conversation. And Jody, do you have any team members yet? Not yet. Okay. But you will. All right.
Right.
All right. So, and, Andy, what is it that you've learned about, having team members and trying to keep your own personal business going?
Well, one of those things is that bringing them to your appointments helps them to see what you're doing and makes a little bit of training without it being training. They're just kind of seeing what you're doing. And then I would say, one thing I love about having team members is that I get to show my girlfriends how to earn money Sorry, I'm doing all the things tonight. How to earn money and how to take their family to Disney if that's what they want.
Exactly. And you guys, I mean, that's the thing, is the fact that, like I said at the very beginning, you all have dreams and goals of your own. And I know every single one of you want to be successful. And, that's where you want to just say to yourself, that, if you falter in your belief, you've got to lean into mine or lean into Amy's or lean into Tanya's or lean into Holly's. And lean into our belief in you, because of the fact that what we have been in the mud puddles of this business, and learned how to get out of it. And the biggest thing by having team members, they always say the teacher learns the most, and that is so true, because when you have team members, you truly do learn more, you become better. All right, number 5, find ways to be more time efficient. And I can already tell I'm over time. I'm so sorry. So find ways to be more time efficient. Do you clean your mirrors as soon as your appointments are done so that you can put them away and they're ready for the next one? Do you repack as you unpack? All right. So, do you get ready for the next party when you're ending a party? Do you think of it that way? One of the things that I think that I love about this business most, you guys, I've only worked 20 hours a week this entire time in my Mary Kay business. And you know what, you guys, I mean, that's what you can do. I mean, you can do that. But when you are working, you just make it really, really efficient. And so you look at how you want to do this and how you want to make it work. And with virtual, it is such a gift to us all, because you've got that perfect marriage of the virtual and the live that you can use as a choice, especially if the weather's bad, the roads are bad, or if people are just difficult to get together with, you can definitely offer that. But things like our makeover contest, I mean, you guys, we've got our Make a Difference makeover contest, and you can earn your sunglasses, and Andy has 2 pairs that she's already earned. And you guys, every time you're doing a sharing appointment or a makeover, you're going to go in for the Make a Difference makeover contest. And so that's what I'm going to say. September 5th is our next drawing. We're going to give another 10 pairs of sunglasses away, you guys. It's at 6:30 that night. And so just know, oh, there we go. There's Andy. Okay, Andy. She's got hers. She's styling with her Diff sunglasses. And you guys, we chose Diff because of the fact that they have a mission as well, like Mary Kay does. They give away free eyewear and vision screening for at-risk kids. And so that's why I chose Diff. And I love that. And I love it, the fact that, we can use this as a great booking technique. You say, Heidi, I just, had to call you. We're doing a makeover and a sharing contest, and you can get into a drawing to win Diff sunglasses. Is there any reason why we can't get together this week sometime? And do you have some friends that you think would like to win free sunglasses too? Because we're going to give away 10 pairs, 5 to a consultant, or excuse me, 5 to a customer, 5 to a consultant. And so use the makeover contest. Anytime I'm paying for prizes, take advantage of that. Anytime Amy's or Tanya or, anybody else is paying for prizes, you guys let us do that. And so with that, too, we also have the cruise going on, where year long, being a Ruby Star consultant, you can earn your way onto that cruise, and you can take your husband, you can take your family, you get to choose. But that's the thing, is that it's not too late to make that goal, that yes, you could do that. And so there's a lot of things, you guys. I know with the numerical set, I know with the new liners, you have so much to talk about. But the biggest thing I want you to know, you guys, is the fact that it was never perfect for me, ever. It was never perfect. There were a lot of, overcoming objections, like people would say to me, gosh, I don't have the money. And you just say, gosh, if I were to make it affordable for you, would that be of interest to you? So with everything, or gosh, I'm so busy. And you say, you know what, that's exactly why I chose you. I love working with busy people because you know how to get things done. Or you know what, I love working with busy people because of the fact that I am really working to get my parties down to 30 minutes. Could you help me do that? Tell me some great techniques. I also developed a thing with my team members where, if they ever lost their vision, you guys, I would always go back and do an exit interview with any of my team members that they had lost their vision. And I would just say, gosh, what was it You know, would you ever consider coming back if, you know, what you just shared with me ever changed? And I loved that because of the fact that it really helped me become a better leader, so that I understood when people left, why they left, and then they would come back. And so I love this business, you guys. I love working with every single one of you. I want more for you than you can ever even imagine. You know, I think, you know, I can tell you without a doubt, you know, that I think back to when I was a new director and I'd fly back to Wyoming, I'd rent a car and I'd spend a whole week. And, you know, like with Amy Hayes, I would start in Laramie and we would do parties in Laramie, and then we would go to Green River and we would do parties in Green River. And, you know, every moment invested with her, with Linda Gebhardt, every moment with every single one of my team members was so worth it. But it didn't mean that there weren't some bumps along the road. And so that's what I'm going to tell you, is that your resilience is going to be the key to your success. But keep your vision. You know, if you want to take your family to Disney, like for us, you know, it's the fact that we wanted to be able to take our kids on quarterly vacations. You know, we wanted to be able to have our kids come out of college with no college debt. Now Kendall's getting married, and, you know, it's so wonderful to be able to, you know, go and, you know, experience these moments and not have to worry, because they say if you'll work hard in your Mary Kay business 4 to 5 years, you'll never have to work hard again. And that is so very, very true. So I'm going to shut up. I know I've went way over time.
Deb, thank you so much.
Instead. We do have about 4 minutes left before Zoom kicks us off because I haven't been paying for it. I'm sorry, you guys. But does anybody have any questions for Miss Deb that they, from anything she said, or just questions in general before we pop off?
That's great.
I just have a comment. Deb, thank you for your time and joining us. It's always, I love hearing you, hearing your story, just anything you have to say. I would love to be closer to you so I can rub shoulders with you more often than events. But thank you so, so very much.
Absolutely.
Love you, friend.
My
Love
pleasure. Love you too. Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you all. I hope you all have been inspired. If you have any questions that you don't think of now, be sure and get to your recruiter or Deb directly. I'm sure she would answer you. But yes, thank you so, so much. Deb, as inspiring as always. I love it. You give me my fire back, which I need.
That's exactly. We want to have all of you in Fort Worth, Texas with us as new directors.
Yes.
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 And DIQs get to go too. Did you guys hear that?
Oh, I'm going to be a director. I don't need that DIQ thing.
There you go. There you go. Different classes for sure. And Kaylee's registered for retreat. I think, Cindy, did you get registered? I think you're registered.
Not yet.
Not yet. So anyway,
For the
priority registration ends on Thursday for our area. Then I have to open up to the Mary Kay National area. So
Okay.
awesome. All right. Good night, everyone.
Awesome.
Thank you so much, Deb. Good night, everyone.
Good night, y'all.